Happy Friday, everybody. I'm feeling pretty good. My cold's a little better. I still have a little bit of a scratchy throat. And then also, I've been wearing my contacts for 5 hours. 5 hours! Oh, dreams do come true. Let's see if they hold out for the rest of the stream. I was like, maybe I should put my glasses on. And I was like, no. I'm glad you like the dairy review. I don't know if I'm going to wear that makeup every Sunday. I think it might get old, like maybe I'll put it back on for the finale, right? Uh, and also, I'm just worried maybe for some reason it maybe won't be as cool. It's hard to repeat a good joke. All right, so everybody, thank you and welcome to my live stream for Friday afternoon. We have a surprising number of actually very good stories to go over. This sure came together well. Hey, Oasis. A yellow raincoat's pretty funny, but I already did a hood for Tron. So I don't know. Maybe I could get a balloon. That's right. Kay Walton and I had the same idea. I'll have to find out. It's a little slow this week. I apologize. I had to have some maintenance done on my apartment that I had to oversee. I didn't have to oversee it, but I wanted to. Thank you, X-Men Superfan. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, so I'm like, oh, if you think you're coming in there without me, you're nuts. And so it took a day to prep for that, and then it took a day to overlook it, and so that really took a lot of my time this week. So I apologize about that. But I'm back in it for this week, baby, this coming week. All right. Luckily, Hollywood's dead right now. But I feel pretty good about these stories. So yeah, we're going to do these 3 stories. You can ask me any questions or comments you like at the end of each story. And then, of course, as always, at the very end of the stream, you got 10 minutes to ask me anything. All righty. So hold on. Let me go back to my thing here. All right. So... oh, is Superman awards worthy? And I tweeted this, and some of you were like, don't be ridiculous, Grace. But the context for this is, hello, who's a Critics... who's a Critics' Choice member and gets to vote for nominees? This guy. I missed the whole thing about who has 2 thumbs. Damn it. Whatever. So anyway... I get to vote for films I think should be nominated. And Critics' Choice is a really big award all the time, thank you very much. But this year, it's particularly meaningful. So I thought we'd talk about it. I thought it would be fun to discuss. Could maybe even been I don't know if it could have been a standalone video. Nah, all right. So anyway, let's discuss it. All right. So James Gunn sure is sweating up a storm. He recently did yet another interview, although it was very nice to see a smaller YouTuber get attention like that. I thought that was very nice. Very DC-focused YouTuber. And, James Gunn didn't seem like he was in the best of moods from, like, the few clips that I saw. And I think he's feeling the heat from the Warner Brothers sale. He's only 1 for 3 in terms of them being successes. And... I think, some awards nominations certainly wouldn't hurt him. So, and Warner Brothers is pushing the movie. So I think that, he's like, give me some sweet, sweet awards, man, so I can show something to the Ellisons when they probably come a-calling saying, what are you doing over here now? Because, yeah, his 2... by the way, we'll go over it on Sunday, but Peacemaker didn't trend again, even with episode 6. even with episode 6. Oh, he must be sweating something fierce. It's pretty rough. Now, comic book movies, it can happen. It's not the impossible dream, because look at how we've had the past. The Dark Knight, I mean, I like Superman quite a bit. It's not the Dark Knight. But, the Dark Knight changed the game, because it didn't get a nomination for Best Picture, and people were so upset about it. That's why there are now up to 10 nominees for Best Picture. That's right, Faye. It is niche. Thank you very much. I called it niche, and that's where that very unfortunate quote comes from that he said about me, because that was in response to someone saying, James Gunn, did you hear that Grace Randolph said that Peacemaker season 1 was niche? And that really upset him. But I was correct. All right, so the Dark Knight, very, obviously extremely successful and celebrated movie. And it won posthumously the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Mr. Heath Ledger. Why the heck is the Suicide Squad in here? Well, other films have been nominated and won for things like editing and VFX. Those are the usual awards for blockbusters. But Suicide Squad, the first one, the David Ayer one, did manage to walk away with makeup and hairstyling, which is, I think, really nice. Then Black Panther, of course, made history when it became the first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win, but it did win a number of other key awards, from score to production design to costume design. And in fact, Black Panther Wakanda Forever would later go on to win costume design as well. Then, of course, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the first Miles Morales animated movie, that film went on to win Best Animated Feature. So that was really amazing as well. And then, of course, Joker, before Joker 2 came out and ruined everything, that had a number of nominations. It also won Best Score, but it won Best Actor. Deservedly so, until, Joker 2 really ruined the legacy of that film, which is just really a shame. So, I'm a Critics' Choice member. All right, so let me show you something that Warner Brothers sent me the other day. Boom, baby. All right, there it is. So, there we go for your Critics' Choice Awards consideration. Now, why are they sending me all these categories? Well, that's because Mystic, you're saying there is no Joker 2 by choice, but of course there is one. So they're sending it in every single category because I'm supposed to vote for nominations. All right, so every movie does this. They're like, and I think it's actually very effective. So they sent this out. It's specifically made for Critics' Choice with our categories highlighted. And it's trying to get us to nominate the films. Remember, the first round of voting for every awards body is the nominations. We all vote for nominations, and then we vote for winners after that. So I gotta tell you, I'd really kind of like to vote for Superman beyond just visual effects. I think it's a better film than just getting the standard visual effects nomination. But what could I vote for it for, right? I'm not saying to win. I definitely think it should get a VFX nomination. But what would I vote else for? So hold on, let me make it a little bigger so we can read. And I got to tell you, one category jumped out at me right away. And that was acting ensemble. Now, this is not something that the Oscars has, but SAG has it, and we have it at Critics' Choice. And I think that, I wouldn't highlight any of the individual actors, but I feel like as a group, it was really nicely done, which is funny because at first we were like, way too crowded. But when we saw the movie, we were like, oh, that's delightful. At least a lot of us did. So I kind of like the idea of, an ensemble. I don't think that SAG will maybe do it, but Critics' Choice, we're a fun group. We actually not only nominated John M. Chu for Best Director for Wicked, but we gave him the win. So that's pretty neat. So maybe this is something we could do. We've also, as a body, as a voting body for awards, we were the only ones so far really to show The Boys a lot of love. We love The Boys. We were the first to nominate Anthony Starr over in the TV section. That's right. We're for the people, always. I feel like Vince Vaughn in Fred Claus. Help the people. But anyway, yeah, you know what, I'm not sure about casting Bobby, but, Bobby, Timothy, we're thinking the same way. I'm thinking maybe casting as well. Now, I do feel, to be fair, where is casting? Now my contact's starting to bother me. Where is it? There it is. John Papsidera. He's been working for an extremely long time. But I kind of feel like James Gunn cast this movie. But I don't know. I guess maybe John Papsidera put people in front of him, right? I'm not sure about casting for that regard. And maybe that's one of the downsides to James Gunn having such creative ownership that it kind of takes away from what other people have contributed to the project. But I don't know about casting. I'll have to think about it. And by the way, not necessarily saying Superman will win best ensemble, best acting ensemble, but I honestly kind of feel it deserves a nomination. Just to be honest with you, I really do. So I probably am going to vote for it for, let's see here, for best visual effects. Whoa, that arrow got big. Sorry. Best visual effects for sure. Oh, how about stunt design? Ooh, the plot thickens. I don't know. The coolest stunts, thank you, Faye, for bringing that up as well. The coolest stunts that I saw were not in the movie. I saw a really cool, like, stunt reel, and I was like, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, it looked pretty effortless and they had to do I got to tell you, the flying looked really good. So, I don't know, like who else would I put in stunts this year, for Pete's sake, right? There's not, oh yeah, Mr. Terrific fight scene. Thank you, Mika. I feel like maybe there's not a lot of other competition there. So I'm glad we talked about this. So yes, best visual effects, probably stunt design. Look at us, we're cutting edge. I'll probably Ballerina too, Faye. But again, I get to nominate a couple of films. I don't have to just nominate one. But yeah, so maybe visual effects, stunts, right? I can't believe the Mighty Crabjoy's theme is for song. That's a little embarrassing. This just kind of makes me feel like maybe I shouldn't do it. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to be a part of this anymore. But no, I'm going to stick with it. So yeah, I don't know about casting, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to do visual effects, stunts, and ensemble. Do I want to do screenplay? I don't know. I like the screenplay a lot. And I was talking to a screenplay friend of mine. Let me go to screenplay. Look, everybody's like, don't you dare. I was talking to a screenplay friend of mine, a screenwriter that I know, and they were talking about the structure of a script, like what's supposed to happen by the end of the first act, the end of the second act, etc. And also what's supposed to happen by like page 30 something, stuff like that. And after I saw the film, I talked to my screenwriter friend and they were like, I gotta tell you, it's like the precision with which James Gunn hits his writing points is incredible. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't know that, Like, I love talking to people about their craft. Like the little things that you wouldn't realize as someone who's a connoisseur, but who's someone who actually knows the nuts and bolts. Oh, look at Mystic calling it formulaic. No, it's the craftsmanship, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Score seems a bit much. I feel I might lose whatever support I have at that point. For supporting Superman in this regard. Thank you, Cam. The mechanics of the script are good. And I appreciated the approach that Superman was a good person. And I was impressed with how James Gunn modernized the character. Something that no one else has been able to do. But I think there are other better script categories. So I think that I'll probably go for acting ensemble, stunt design, and visual effects. That's what I feel good about. I feel good about those. I think anything else is pushing it. I think the very fact that I've put it into acting ensemble, I think speaks volumes for the movie. And I'm happy with that statement. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before we move on to the next story of the day? Lloyd, Peacemaker would be over in television, and I don't think so. Why not Corn Sweat Wanda's attorney? I think it's just not reasonable. I almost feel like it would be a waste of a vote. And I think there's a lot of actors that I'd like to nominate. You know, I can't nominate endless films. I believe the rule is, I don't quite remember. I think I can only nominate 3 movies per category, as I recall. Even though there's 5 spots. But we're only allowed to nominate 3 movies per category. And so I think that I'd prefer to give those nominations to other films. But when it I will, again, as I said, I feel that Superman is a better movie than only getting nominated for VFX. So I'd sort of like to do that, you know. And I do think Rachel Brosnahan did a great job, and I do think that David Corenswet did a great job, and I think I think a lot of the cast, Nicholas Hoult, but I wouldn't nominate them individually. But I do think that as an ensemble, I think they do really stand out. Oliver says that he would not give them stunts. I'd maybe do adapted screenplay. I think Gunn really stepped up his game. The new punk rock line was beautiful. It was, wasn't it? Oh, maybe I will do screenplay. I have to take a look at what, I mean, that really was great. I think a lot of, you know, it was funny that at the end of the movie they had a speech off. You know, Lex and Superman had a speech off instead of a big fight. But the fact that I found that thrilling and I was on the edge of my seat and they had me, I think speaks a lot to the quality of the screenplay. So I have to think about everything else. Stasis, I think the costume, maybe. I didn't love the costume design in Frankenstein, so maybe I'd put Superman in there instead. Although I have to tell you, I don't think the costumes were that great. You know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think that the costumes, now that I think about it, outside of the Superman costume, which again, I think could have been a little better, no, I don't love the cost. I think the costumes were only medium. Mayak that says I'm throwing my vote away. I don't know. I mean, we voted for John Chu, right? And we voted for the boys. You know, I mean, I'm also publicly sharing that I'm going to vote for it. Maybe I'll tweet it. I'm going to tweet it right now. I got to get the word out. Maybe get a couple other people thinking this. Okay, hold on. I am thinking of voting for Superman to be nominated for Best Acting Ensemble for Critics' Choice. Let me do a little thinking emoji. Think, think, think. I'd like to nominate it for more than VFX and stunts. I think it deserves the recognition. Okay, hold on. I gotta go get that poster. Superman 2025 group poster. This way I won't waste my vote. I'll get other people doing it. Come on, come on, come on. There it is. Okay, I'm thinking of voting for Superman to be nominated for Best Acting Ensemble for Critics' Choice. I'd like to nominate from. Okay, let me put the DC hashtag. I'm sure people will just say it's stupid, but whatever, man. You know, you gotta take the swings. You don't always connect, but you gotta take the swings. There we go. All right. That's right. Tweeting in real time, baby. How about that hilarious meme with David Corenswet flying with his tongue out? The Shreddy, you know, I mean, come on. I think it's a pretty good movie. Oh, I don't think I'm going to vote for any of the Marvel films for anything. I mean, maybe. No, I mean, I was thinking maybe Fantastic Four Fantastic Four score. You know, that's a pretty good score, but you know, I don't think that the Marvel movies were anything, you know, really special this year. Oh, I'll be voting for Sinners a lot, Faye. For sure. For sure. Let's see if anybody said anything mean. And then we'll go to the next story. Someone said wasting the vote, but other people appreciate it. And then, hey, Tyler, anyone else from YouTube been watching or tweet this live? I love it. All right, we'll check it later. Let's see if what the internet decides. Oh, thanks, X-Men Superfan. You're always so generous. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get to the next story of the day. Hold on, let me move my arrow. This is a good one, too. Oh, it's fascinating. All right, so hold on. You ready? Oh, wait. There it is. Boop. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Spider-Man, you're in danger, girl. Now, we're going to go over these numbers individually, but I really wanted to highlight here how much IMAX helped Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh, I will be doing a video about my Critics' Choice votes, Joseph. I'll be doing live streams both times that I vote. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be so fun. Okay, so let's go over the story from the beginning. So IMAX released a report for 2026 and 2027 to go over the upcoming films that will be playing on their screens. And they did not mention Spider-Man Brand New Day. And everybody's like, no, IMAX? That is shocking. It truly is shocking in this day and age when premium formats are such a big part of the movie-going experience that a major film, a major comic book movie would not be available in IMAX. And we all know why. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. There he is. He loves his IMAX cameras, baby. He's a one-man machine. He's a one-man advertising campaign for IMAX. But The Odyssey just isn't any Christopher Nolan IMAX movie. Christopher Nolan worked with the IMAX company to develop new cameras. That's right, Papa Nolan. To invent new cameras so he could film the entire film in IMAX. In fact, it's the very first movie, 100%. That's right, Paul. 100% of The Odyssey was filmed in IMAX using this brand new technology, which other people can use after Nolan's movie has come out. And Nolan has been so influential in IMAX and 70mm that he's inspired other filmmakers to work in the medium. Ryan Coogler, Paul Thomas Anderson, Denis Villeneuve said he's very inspired by Nolan. And in fact, IMAX is becoming so, such a player in the marketplace. Sense says build more IMAX screens. Well, the problem is that IMAX gets a cut of the ticket price if you play something on an IMAX screen. IMAX ain't building these things and using their reputation for free, right? They're not a charity. So I remember seeing a story a couple of months ago that movie theater chains are trying to develop their own version of IMAX so that they can keep all the money. However, IMAX is a brand for a reason, and Dolby's really good. But there, if you can get a true IMAX screen, it's really something special. So because Nolan has done so much for the company, and the Odyssey is such a historic film for the technology, I'm sure that he's getting more than just the standard 2 weeks. Here it is. Maybe they're still negotiating it. So, and by the way, Tom Holland is in both movies. So here's July 2026. The Odyssey comes out July 17th, which is a great date for Nolan. He always likes to do mid-July. That's when he released Oppenheimer to great effect. And then there's Brand New Day, which has already moved back a week on July 31st. So you would think 2 weeks in IMAX, but I would suspect that because the Odyssey is, again, 100% filmed in IMAX, I would suspect it's booked for a month. But that's a real problem for this movie. So let's go through it. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, how big of a problem is it? So I went back and I looked at Spider-Man No Way Home's box office in whenever that came out. What was that, 2021, 2022? Whatever. All right, so it came out, and it did extremely well. This is just for its opening weekend. Premium format, PLF is what it's called. Oh, thank you, 2021. It was one that proved that the movie business was still alive post the pandemic. So PLF is premium formats. I forget what the L stands for. But anyway, premium formats, including IMAX, accounted for 31% of the opening weekend box office. So this is for the opening weekend, all right? Worldwide. Then IMAX itself, worldwide, contributed 36.2 million to Spider-Man's, premium large format. Thank you, little dog, too. So IMAX worldwide was 36.2 million opening weekend. It did look extraordinary, like over $200 million open. I think over 200, around there, opening weekend. So you can see it made a lot of money in other types of theaters, but this was substantial. And by the way, since 2021, IMAX only become more popular. And then, 260. Thank you, Mystic. And then in North America, which just goes to show how few IMAX screens there are overseas, the North American opening weekend IMAX was $22 million. And it was the 5th biggest IMAX opening of all time at that time. It might have been eclipsed by then. Although, not too many movies have opened at this scale post the pandemic. So I'm sure it's still pretty high up there. So that's an incredible amount of money. So I think that it's going to be really a downer for people that they're not going to be able to see this new movie, which we can see from them filming on location, incredible visuals. So the fact that you won't be able to see Spider-Man swinging through the air very realistically in IMAX, I think is pretty crazy. Kay Walton, the top number is from all premium screens. However, these two are just from IMAX branded screens, these two second numbers. All right. Now, my question is, what are we going to do about this frickin' release date? Right? I think that Sony, while they still have time, really should seriously consider moving it. Yet again, we told them it was stupid to open. We told Hollywood that July 2025 was a mistake to put Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four so close together. It was a disaster, okay? I think the movies did okay, but none of them did as well as I think they would have if they had a little bit more space. And we've been telling them. Some people were enamored with back-to-back Tom Holland, but this is just, I do not think, working out. So July 2026, yet again, too crowded. It's got these two movies, 2 weeks apart. Not enough premium screens, and it's not going to be able to get IMAX because of Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan, he is very aggressive as well. And I think he's going to be looking to make his own box office records with the Odyssey. And he certainly doesn't need to have his legs cut off just 2 weeks out. Then, of course, they've already missed the Comic-Con date. When Spider-Man Brand New Day, my eye. When Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think it's because I have these lights on me too. When Spider-Man Brand New Day first picked its release date, it was July 24th, just a week apart, so that it could hit theaters Comic-Con weekend, which it did wonders for Deadpool and Wolverine. But of course, Fantastic Four had that date this past year, did nothing for them. Although Marvel skipped the convention entirely, which was ridiculous. They didn't do a special Fantastic Four panel. They kind of abandoned the synergy idea that Ryan Reynolds had done so well. And that's right, X-Men superfan. Why has Hollywood abandoned August? You can make a considerable amount of money in the first weekend of August. That's where, speaking of Suicide Squad, that's where that movie came out, the first one. I think maybe the second one too. And then also, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy, speaking of James Gunn. That did extremely well at that date. That is a great date, the first weekend of August. And really, I think that Spider-Man Brand New Day should be considering that. I really think it should be considering August 6th. Right now, there's no movie there. Disney's holding it tentatively for an untitled film. F that, man. If you don't have a movie there by now, I don't want to hear it. So I think they should take that date. There's like some kind of sci-fi rom-com, like weird rom-com there right now. And there's nothing else in the rest of August, really, to threaten this movie. It can't go into May because May's too crowded. Now it's got Mortal Kombat, it's got Devil Wears Prada 2, it's got Mandalorian and Grogu, it's got Grand Theft Auto 6, by the way. So it's already pretty crowded there. So yeah, so like some of you are pointing out that, thank you, Dancing Dog 60. Some of you are pointing out that well, so let's see here. What was it? Oh, that it can't be too close to December because, of course, that is when Doomsday is coming out, and they don't want to be too close to Doomsday. Conceivably, the films might have something to do with each other. We'll see. But, you know, yeah, you don't want to be too close to that. But Sony doesn't want to kill this movie. This is a big deal movie. This is one of the few movies people are still excited about, which is exciting. I mean, like, it's been rough. 2025 has been a difficult year. So, and I agree with Joseph. I think August is still far enough. I mean, it's only one more week. Just move it one more week and then be done with it. And then I would be like, I don't want to hear it, Nolan. I think 3 weeks on IMAX is enough for you. You know, like, I don't even know if maybe Nolan has IMAX booked for the rest of the summer. I mean, I don't know how that would feel. That would be nuts. I mean, we don't know the extent to what he has reserved for IMAX. That would be, if IMAX was going to start doing stuff like that, I would be pretty upset as a studio head. I'd be like, how am I supposed to work with that kind of an exclusive? You know, like there are other movies coming down the pipeline. So I'd be like, you got to build more IMAX screens or I'm going to get behind a different format. You know, I think the problem is that while Dolby has a really nice clear picture, it does not have the scope and size of an IMAX screen. The IMAX screen is bigger, it's taller, it's more immersive. It makes you feel like you're in the movie. I told you, Tron Ares is a different experience in IMAX 3D. Even if it's a smaller IMAX, it makes a difference. Where the seats are, you know, you really, you know, the whole configuration. And I don't know if that's copyrighted or not, or patented. Patented is the term. But they got to figure this out. Dancing Dog 60 says Sony needs to realize it's not a measuring contest and move the date from the Odyssey. Be smart and move. All right, let me do a poll. Hold on. Should Spider-Man Brand New Day move? No. Yes to August 6th. And then yes, even further out. All right. There you go. And by the way, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in a poll. You just have to click. You just have to click where the poll is, and then you can cast your vote. Stephen, Dolby has great seating for sure, but I think there's just something special about IMAX. Boneyard Captain wants to know what I prefer, Dolby or IMAX. I think for a standard film, I would go in Dolby, but for special films, like you really want that major screen, I prefer IMAX. You know, like when it counts, Sinners and IMAX was important. Oppenheimer and IMAX was important. Like I didn't need to see Barbie in IMAX. Actually, I don't believe it was available in IMAX. But, you know, for certain films, I want to see it in IMAX. And I have to tell you, a lot of times the press screenings that we go to are in a smaller IMAX, but it makes a difference. Steven says Barbie didn't get IMAX and did amazing, but that was counter programming. Yeah, it's Barbie. I don't think the audiences that are into Barbie care as much about premium screens as the Spider-Man audience does. Oh, Mystic says, how about Labor Day? That's a good idea, Mystic. Although I think there might be a movie set for Labor Day next year. Let me check. Oh, no, there isn't. But I would be extremely close to Clayface. Clayface is September 11th. So I think that would be an issue. But I don't care. I mean, Sony doesn't care about Clayface. They're like, why am I protecting Clayface? Jesus says, isn't John Bernthal in both? Oh, he is in both as well. That's right. Zendaya and John Bernthal and Tom Holland. That's nuts. Sark says Sony thinks they can compete with Nolan and got people to watch compete when Nolan got people to watch 3 hours of historical drama with no action. That's right, and just one little tiny explosion, which I don't think he did justice. Let's see. See, it's Shay After Dark says they need to see Spidey in IMAX. Maria says first time IMAX, but it's seeing it again. Go for the cheaper screen for repeat viewing. Let's see. Yeah, Psycho. Zendaya is in Spider-Man. I think she is. Elise, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, I don't think that Clayface would hurt Spider-Man, but I think Clayface would have. I mean, Spider-Man would obliterate Clayface. It's just, Clayface wouldn't be able to compete with such a huge film. Aren't they also filmed in the same city? I think that would be crazy. Okay, let me close the poll. All right, so 56% of you feel they should move it back 1 week, while 22% of you think it should stay where it is, and then another 22% think it should move out even further. But about 80% of you feel that it should move. I Don't Care Bear says that their brother met both Tom and Zendaya and didn't ask about Spider-Man at all. Well, that's very nice of him. They couldn't have answered it. All right, I think we're ready for the third story. Okay. Oliver, you're going to get me in trouble. I can't tell you what these movies are about. As I've said before, I'm not an anonymous scooper, and I do get in trouble. All right. Let's see here. Story number 3. All right. Boom, baby. Here we go. Stranger Things. We're talking about it yet again, but the situation has evolved, and it's creating history. So I think that's a reason worth talking about it yet again. Julian says IMAX probably feels this is a big deal, having the movie fully filmed in IMAX. So what are the chances? There's a very strong chance that it's 4 weeks. But I think that if I were, I'd be like, I got freaking Spider-Man brand new day here. I'm not trying to push this off for a small movie. You can't have 4 weeks. I'm sorry. That's what I would say. You can't have it. You got to give it to me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Nolan. It's just, we don't have that kind of inventory in terms of screens. Okay, so called it. I called it. When we first started our Stranger Things in theaters discussion, I said that everybody said this was a good idea to do, and so obviously they were going to do it, especially because Netflix is moving more and more into theaters very quickly. So yes, sure enough, like what, a week and a half later, it's official. Stranger Things Season 5, the series finale, will play in theaters. So it's a 2-hour, I think right now only in North America though. So sorry guys, but hopefully maybe they can negotiate some other deals. So it's a 2-hour finale called The Right Side Up. Oh, I'm excited too, Maria. Thank you, Jesus. I think this is going to be great. So I think this is part of the business is changing before our very eyes. Like, think about it. Like, for a while we were like, streaming is ruining theaters. But wouldn't it be funny if we went full circle and streaming is what starts to save theaters, right? So Netflix has definitely an evolving strategy when it comes to the theatrical space. K-pop Demon Hunters had a qualifying run when it first dropped, but since then has been in theaters, was the #1 movie of the weekend, and is going back for Halloween weekend when everybody's going to be wearing their K-pop Demon Hunters costumes. Then for the 2025 awards films, those movies are all playing in theaters for about 2 to 3 weeks. Frankenstein hit theaters, limited theaters, on October 17th and will not play on Netflix until November 7th. And then, of course, there's Narnia, Greta Gerwig's Narnia, which is negotiated, I love to say it like that, a 2-week exclusive on IMAX right before Thanksgiving next year. This year's all about Wicked for Good. Next year, hopefully, if Netflix has everything go the way they want, it'll be all about Greta Gerwig's Narnia. So they are very much moving into the theatrical space. It's also probably going to help them with awards. I think that's what they're hoping. That's right. Knives Out will have an extended theatrical release, and so will Jay Kelly, and so did the movie that just came out, the Catherine Bigelow one, House of Dynamite or whatever. Okay. However, this is also part of AMC's continued thinking outside of the box. Hollywood is not giving AMC theaters or other movie theaters enough content. They're not giving them enough content. They're not giving them good enough content. One second. This is just too painful. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm back. Woo! Sorry, now I can focus. All right. So, AMC really needs content. Okay? They need to get people back into the theater. They need events. So, they've been doing a lot of experimenting with different types of projects. And I feel that, you know, streaming shows that are becoming extremely popular is a potential very exciting thing for them. You know, Game of Thrones back in the day did play an episode in theaters, but it wasn't at the same time that it was airing on television. But still, it was extremely successful and very exciting. And people had hoped back in the day that they could watch the finale in theaters. So you're looking at a thing where you could potentially have season or series finales in theaters. I think that's very, very, very exciting, and something that, you know, that's how good streaming shows are, that you might start to get people go, hey, I'll go and see it in a theater, right? That's amazing. You're already kind of seeing that with like The Chosen and stuff like that as well, Fathom Events. All right, so that is why they're making Hollywood history. This will be the first time that a streaming show, plays in theaters simultaneously to its debut on air. This isn't it's not a re-release, it's not a retrospective. It is an event, so you can watch a show when it debuts either on streaming or in theaters. And it's the first of its kind. That's a really big deal. And I think it's going to hopefully have ramifications. We really haven't seen a lot of other singers follow in Taylor Swift's footsteps. You have seen other concert films, like we had Taylor Swift and Beyonce's concert films, but not to the degree that I would have hoped. But, that's a lot of work to put that all together. A lot of the streaming shows these days, they spend hundreds of millions. I mean, what is The Mandalorian and Grogu? It's another season of The Mandalorian, right? I mean, they spend as much money on streaming shows as they do on movies these days. And it's from major studios that already have distribution arms. So all they have to do is call up the theaters and say, we want to put this 1 to 2, or what they can put a 2-hour episode or 2 1-hour episodes into the theaters. And I think that would just be absolutely incredible. But yeah, so history is being made. I hope the finale's good. All right, so let's talk about the specifics. So it will air, the show times will start on New Year's Eve, December 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the show will also debut on Netflix. So there will be no spoilers. You can see it as soon as it drops, either in the theaters or at home. So nobody's going to get nobody's going to be ahead of anybody else. I suspect that because of that, the ticket sales for the first showing that coincide with release on streaming they're just going to go like that. And I suspect, let me ask, how many of you are going to watch in theaters? I mean, it is New Year's Eve, but it's hard to find stuff to do for New Year's Eve. Will you watch Stranger Things Stranger Things 5 finale in theaters? Yes. The day it drops. Yes. On New Year's Day. Will watch at home. And then not watching. I have to tell you, I went to see, maybe I would do this. I went to see the Stranger Things Broadway show. And they made it feel like you were watching an episode of Stranger Things. They did the opening, after the intro, they did the like do 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 do, with the red screen coming in. And then when the play was over, they actually had the next episode little thing come up, in the bottom of the screen, right here on the stage, which was so fun. And to be in an auditorium full of other Stranger Things fans was pretty freaking cool. So it's making me feel like maybe this would be a great way to experience this. So it'll be, as I said, in Netflix and in theaters at the same time. And it will also be only right now in North America. However, maybe they'll change that. Let's see what they can negotiate. It'll only be available for 2 days. Okay? Floppy disk channel. Why are you watching stuff at double the speed? That's not how it's meant to be intended. It's like, everybody's like, nah, let's try and do great art even on the small screen. And you're like, I'm going to watch it on a phone at 2 times. 2 times the speed. Okay, so anyway, it's only going to be in theaters for 2 days. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's the only time you can go and see it in theaters, which is pretty exciting. I don't know when tickets are going on sale, Steven. They haven't announced when tickets are going on sale, and they haven't announced the cost. And I bet you your AMC A-list will not count, just like with Taylor Swift, which would be interesting. They're like, give me your money. And which will be interesting, because you'll still be subbed to Netflix, but you'll be paying additional so that you can go to the theater. So as I said, this reminds me of what Taylor Swift has been doing, with her album release party. I mean, it didn't make as much as the first one, but it still made $30 million. Steven, New York City is very crowded on New Year's Eve, but, you should still be able to get a good ticket. Faye, it should cost $11. That's hilarious. That's a great idea, and that's a good price. I think that's hilarious. I like that a lot. So then, what about premium screens? I'd love to see Stranger Things on an IMAX or a Dolby, right? So the only problem with that is Avatar Fire and Ash from Disney, which is very aggressive. However, Avatar Fire and Ash, I think it's good that it's 2 days, Mason, because I think it makes it more of an event. If you could watch this finale for weeks or even just 1 week, I think it's exciting. The fact that you have to see it within 2 days, I think kind of creates that sense of urgency. And then Avatar Fire and Ash, that comes out, but it's on December 19th. So at that point, it'll be a couple of weeks that it has already been in theaters. I bet you for just 2 days, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, they can wrangle at least one of them away. Maybe not the IMAX, but I bet you they can get the Dolby screens. Taylor Swift couldn't get IMAX because once One Battle After Another already had those locked in for its second weekend. But as you recall, she was able to get a couple of Dolby showings a day. Avatar is an extremely long movie, so I might just be like, you don't need your Dolbys, man. Keep your IMAXs. So I think, although Cam says Dolby 3D I would agree. Dolby 3D is that's how I saw Way of Water, and it was pretty amazing. All right, I'll let Avatar decide which they want. I'll be like, do you want to give up the Dolby or do you want to give up the IMAX? It's just for 2 days. I'm taking the screens. And I think it'll be I think it's going to do exceptionally well. I think it will win those 2 days. I want to know how much money it can make. K-pop Demon Hunters made $19 million in 3 days. $19 million, but it had a ton of screens. But let's see how many screens this gets. But that's the number to beat right now for a Netflix release. K-pop Demon Hunters, again at $19 million. But everybody had already seen it, which is a big key difference. Nobody will have seen this. It'll be brand new. That's exciting. All right, does anybody have questions or comments about this story? I don't care, Bear says, do you think the problematic cast members will make much of a dent? No, this is the finale. Sean, I don't know if I'm going to go or not. It depends if I get it in advance. It depends if I can convince anyone to go with me. I mean, I usually spend New Year's with my family, and I don't know if they're going to want to do that or not. Maybe I can get them to do New Year's Day. That'd be cool, and just stay off social media. Maybe I could do that. Because I'm sure if they don't give me a screener in advance, I'm sure as heck not going to work on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. So I could just review it the day after. iReady says, let's hope they only drop the ball in Times Square and not at Stranger Things that night. That's a good one, iReady. That could be some, if it's not good, that you wrote a good review line there. Oh, let's see here. Who pointed that out? Juan Gabriel points out that it will be going up against Marty Supreme and Anaconda. Oh, they're going to lose their screens for 2 days. They really are. John, I agree. I'm kind of like a New Year's Day a little bit better. I mean, there's nothing to do on New Year's Day. But I don't know, the excitement of that. But I mean, then how am I going to get to a place for New Year's if it's at 8 p.m.? Then it gets out at 10. There better not be trailers in front of it. So, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, New Year's Day is probably better. Maria says, if the 2 days sell out, would they add days? No, Maria, they will add screens. Wouldn't it be neat if there is such demand they took like all the screens? They were like, ha, it's the only movie playing for 2 days. And I'd be like, that seems fitting to me. Kareem, my parents like Stranger Things, but they don't remember what happened. I barely remember what happened, to be honest with you. Good thing I recently saw that the Broadway show. I mean, it's taken too long. Let me close the poll here. All right, so 42% of you will watch at home. 27% of you will not watch it at all. Woohoo. 22% of you will go the day it drops, and 9% of you will see it on New Year's Day. Well, it's okay. I mean, that's not great, to be honest with you. But, let's see what happens. I still believe it will do well. And most of you are going to watch. I mean, I'm surprised that 27% of you don't even watch Stranger Things. That's not, I mean, I don't know. Is that because it's taken so long to finish the story? Is it the problematic actors? That's almost 30%. Oh, Kay Walton wants to point out that Wicked for Good will also probably hit digital on New Year's Day. I wouldn't if I were them, because it's going to be all about Stranger Things. And I think there is crossover between the two audiences. Oh, Mystic's boycotting it. That's interesting. And Danny says it's a great idea, but the timing is off. Yeah, I do not like their release schedule, as I've told you before. I think it's really bad to have the holiday situation like this. I think that it's very hard to coordinate holidays and watching something that's so long. And I think people might be behind. Like, I mean, and this is a chore to watch. I mean, these episodes are going to be all about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And, what if you fall behind? And you're like, I mean, you could probably catch up between Christmas and New Year's. Classic movie lovers never watched Stranger Things. Wow. I don't know if you should do it at this point. Elise, Wicked for Good, that comes out theatrically November 21st. Yeah, it's been a really long time. I think it's been 3 to 4 years since the last season. Senior Lullaby says, "Do I need to see Wicked in IMAX?" My choice for Wicked is Dolby, actually. See. And then Lindsay says, "My holidays are not for streaming. I'm hanging out with family and stuff." Yeah, that's the issue. Also, I got to tell you, my family want, and I too want to watch holiday movies. That's the only time of year you can watch holiday movies. I mean, without fail, every year oh, hey, floppy disk. Um, every year, my family watches Home Alone on Christmas Eve. That's just it's just a tradition. We've done it for years. So, like, we're not going to be like, well, this year let's break it for Stranger Things. That's right, Home Alone and pizza. That's right, Oasis. Yeah, we always order a cheese pizza just for us. It's pretty great. Kareem says Nosferatu did well as well. Yes, it did great as counter programming. But remember, Nosferatu came out on Christmas Day, so as soon as Christmas is over, it's done. You don't watch any Christmas movies. Like, that's the good thing about between Christmas and New Year's. There ain't nothing to do for like a week. You're like, what should we do? Nobody wants to work. There's nothing really to do. That's a great time to release something. But the Thanksgiving issue is the problem. Barbara, there are a couple of issues with some of the positions the cast have taken politically and stuff like that. Andre, nice Home Alone there quote. I love it. All right, I think we're ready for the Q&A. All right, let's see here. Oasis, Grace, do you think streaming services are going to overuse this? No. No, they'll know. I mean, nobody wants to embarrass their show. So they know when they have enough of an interest to make it worthwhile. The fans will let them know. Okay. There we go. 10-minute Q&A. Oh, Mika says, what are your thoughts on the Miami Vice casting? I'm very disappointed. It looks like it's not going to be Glenn Powell. I think they went for cool. I got to tell you, I have a friend who really likes Glenn Powell, does not care for Austin Butler. I think Austin Butler's a mistake. Paul, who, although nobody's not going to see the new Miami Vice movie with Michael B. Jordan from the guy who directed F1 and Top Gun 2. All right, Paul says, what's the best lesson you've learned in film school? Oh, that's an interesting one. I think I really liked the business stuff that I learned. That to me has always been very, I mean, as you see, it has a huge effect on me. The business of movies. I really liked that a lot. Oh, let's see here. X-Men Superfan says, thoughts on the comedic duo of Patrick Warburton and Eartha. Oh, I love them, as you know. I love that movie. Oh, hey, Glubby Snot, welcome back. I love them. I mean, The Emperor's New Groove, I quote it every time we do a live stream. Boom Baby for the third story is from Emperor's New Groove. Oliver says, what should I watch as I draw? X-Men 2000 or Gremlins 1984? I gotta tell you, I'm not a Gremlins fan. So I would go with the X-Men movie. Although X2, of course, is my jam. Although Kareem says Gremlins all the way. Hey, Fahad. Fahadol, thank you for joining. Or welcome back, actually, as I can see there. J. Timo says, Grace, any comment or tea on the Ben Solo story doing the rounds? Well, I talked about that earlier in the week. I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see that movie. I am curious as to whether or not it'll take on Snyderverse, levels of intrigue. Let's see. I think it depends if Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh keep pushing it on their end, right? Someone needs to ask them if they'd still do it. And I hope if they say yes, I think it's going to be interesting. John says, would Marvel take Gunn back if he gets the boot from Warner Brothers? Oh. I mean, I just think we'd be getting ridiculous at that point. But I mean, he and Kevin Feige are very good friends. And I mean, Kevin Feige certainly wouldn't say no to more Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe, But I mean, I don't know. If I were the head of Disney, I'd be like, dude, I mean, I thought we wrapped stuff up with this guy. Let's see here. Jesus says, I gotta say, Grace, you're welcome to Dairy Review. Not only surprised me, but it made me. Oh, I'm so glad you loved it. Yeah, I drew that on my own face. Someone asked me if it was a filter. Somebody I know was like, is that a filter? I was like, no, man, I drew that on my face myself. All right. Daniel, I'm glad you enjoyed Kiss of the Spider Woman. I thought that, the performance, some of the performances were quite good. Maybe people will discover it on streaming. Ryan, I didn't get to do Gen V wrap up. Something came up personally, I'm sorry to say. And so I have some stuff going on personally that's eating up like my mornings and it's hard for me to work late for like the next week or so. Like really late, you know? And so also I got to tell you, I like totally forgot what had happened on Gen V. And I haven't seen a ton of interest in Gen V. So sometimes, and I also lost 2 days this week, as you know. So sometimes when stuff like that happens, you know, you got to keep moving. And I'm sorry to say, I rolled right over Gen V. Elise says, did Stranger Things overplay the Will queer baiting situation? I paraphrased. Let's see how they handle the final season. I hope that they make it, I hope they truly walk through that door for the final season, or else I think that will be the case. Lloyd says, Grace, what are your thoughts on the Writers Guild stepping in to oppose the Paramount Warner Brothers merger plans? Good luck. Speaking of getting rolled right over, the Ellisons are going to roll right over the WGA. You know, I'm kind of upset with the unions. They struck for a very long time, and they really put the whole business on hold, the whole industry on hold to protect against AI, and it looks like they haven't done diddly squat. Waste Trump isn't going to buy Warner Brothers, but his friend is, and I think they're working to move Hollywood more to the right. The Shreddy, I don't know if I'm going to review Hamnet. I must watch it before I vote, but I have about a month or so before I have to vote. Voting for nominations starts November 25th for Critics' Choice, so I have a little bit of time. I don't think I saw the Pluribus trailer. I'll have to take a look. Sean says, when will we know who James Bond is? Not for a while, because Denis Villeneuve has to do Dune 3 first. He'll cast before that film is done, but he certainly probably won't take on casting until he's finished production. So you have a little bit of time. Danny says, I've missed a lot of streams lately. Just wanted to say thanks to Grace and hope all in the BTT fam are doing well. Any thoughts on Lizzie Olsen? Is Wanda coming back to Avengers Doomsday in the MCU? She better come back. I think her window's starting to close. So I hope that she does come back. X-Men Superfan says, how far off do you think the Wonder Woman film announcement is? Maybe they won't skip Comic-Con this year. That would be nice. I would hope maybe Comic-Con. Although with James Gunn, he could tweet at any minute. Any second. You know, he's not really much for the presentations or the grandeur of an official presentation. He just like, I mean, I think that would be kind of sad if that's how Wonder Woman was announced. But that's how he does it. And I have to say, with respect, he manages to avoid leaks, which is impressive. Elias says, Stranger Things is a global phenomenon. Thanksgiving is just a U.S. thing, and the boycotters will be loud online but won't keep people from watching. But Christmas and New Year's aren't a U.S. thing. Well, let's see. Let's see. Faye says, thoughts on Eric Kripke saying The Boys season 5 is the most political season yet. Ooh. I mean, it's their show, you know? I mean, I don't like hearing stuff like that because I'm kind of becoming of the camp that entertainment should be there as an escape, you know? I mean, I do feel that some movies should have commentary. I mean, I think that movies and entertainment can bridge great divides. I think they can accomplish great things through art. But not everything needs to do that, you know? Not every movie needs to do that. Like I was watching, well, Back to the Future 2 is somewhat political. Well, I don't know if it was intentionally political. And not everything has to be a political commentary. You can make comments on other things. But I don't like getting dragged into those conversations either. So let's see. Let's see. I mean, I've really loved The Boys so far. So I have no, I mean, I hope that I would enjoy the fifth season. Glubby Snot says, "Hey Grace, I'm back. I've finished my college track career. At the moment, I'm finishing grad school to be a therapist. Oh, how wonderful. Just got surgery and I'm recovering. Hope you have been doing well." I have been doing well. And you sound like you're doing great, Glubby Snot. What a wonderful profession that you're going into. I think that's fantastic. Dancing Dog 60 says, "I took a date to see X2 and she loved it. Years later, I took another date to Days of Future Past. They were both great dates." They need to release another X-Men movie for you. So I mean, I don't know what your current status is, but I love it. Let's see. Brandon says, "Grace, have you heard about the show Boots on Netflix?" I have. You're not the first person to mention it to me. I don't know if I'm going to have time to watch it, but I'm glad to see that it's found an audience. S. Marks, thank you for the compliment about my It makeup. And I did not know that Halle Berry was now available to do shoots on Avengers Doomsday. I hope she's in it. I think it would be a real shame if she wasn't in it. I'll just tell you here, those of you who are asking about or wondering how Gen V is doing, we'll talk about it on Movie Math on Sunday, but it dropped off the charts. It's not there this week. So it's bad. Let's see here. Dancing Dog 60 says, "Thoughts on Ultimate Zatanna look?" Oh, I haven't read the new Wonder Woman. I told you I'm very busy this week, and I haven't got a chance to read my comics. Darn it! I'll have to take a look at that because I was very excited in the last Wonder Woman. Oh, is Dune 3 almost done? Well, then I guess we'll be getting some James Bond casting soon. Oh, let's see. Oh, Oliver says Multiverse of Madness was also a good date movie for his date. Coy says, "Would you consider reviewing Resident Evil Requiem? Would love to hear your critique, and the main protagonist is also blonde named Grace." What? Well, it's hard to review things after they've been out. I really need to review them when they drop. So if there's something that's coming up that you think I should cover, that's the better time to ask me to do that. Thank you, Frank. Let's see here. I think I'm almost done here. Let's see here. X-Men Superfan says, "Why do you think Nancy Meyers is a good director?" Well, she does like comfort food. Comfort food movies, They're charming. They're like really, they're very lavish. They have great production values. Everybody loves a good comedy. Irene says, "Do you think a transition to the right conservative would work? Box office favors the broad appeal." But that's the thing. I think that, not so much to conservative, but away from the more liberal. I think that you're seeing really bad box office numbers. So would they be able to be more to the middle? I think they definitely want to pull the news to the center right, but I think they want to pull the entertainment a little bit more. Well, let's see what they decide to do. Jay Timo says that Famke Janssen says she isn't in Doomsday. That would make me sad. It would make me very sad, but maybe she's pulling an Andrew Garfield. Oh, wow. Thanks, Dancing Dog 60. I would agree, Elise. The new Wonder Woman is the absolute Wonder Woman is a fantastic comic. I also enjoyed Tom King's Wonder Woman until he got in the stupid Mouse King nose. I'm like, how many episodes are we going to just chant Mouse King knows? I mean, I'm pretty upset about it. It's been like 3 issues. I think they're finally hopefully done. I mean, I've still bought them because I like the artwork so much. And the last one had one heck of a cliffhanger. But I'm not happy about it. All right. All right. So, yes, it's been 10 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Let me do shout-outs. Quick shout-outs. Where are you? What are you doing? Let me say hi. Thanks, Wyvild. Eddie, I don't think I'm going to see any movies this weekend. You know what I'm doing? I'm rewatching the Back to the Future movies for the 40th anniversary. So I watched one the other night. Boy, does that hold up well. So I might watch Back to the Future too. I might watch House of Dynamite, but it seems like such a bummer. I don't know. All right, Tatson is on a rainy Vancouver home on a rainy Vancouver day, while EB is on the other side of the country in Toronto and hungry. Ooh, John is working on his book in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh, and congrats on your book. Maria is having spiked apple cider on the other side of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Well, X-Men superfan, oh, you're from Argentina. That's so great to know. Enjoying the spring rain. That's right. They flipped the seasons south of the equator. So for you, it's spring. Daniel says in LA, lying by the pool. That's pretty. Your own pool. Living the good life, Daniel. Hold on, a little bit dry. Aided Buffalo says, chugging a burger. Contemplating going clubbing. Well, you got the protein now. You're ready to go. Your little dog, too, is chilling in Mesquite, Texas. Majan says, just getting out of work. Tough being a BTT. Where did you say that? Oh, it moved away. I'm glad you caught us. I'm glad you caught us after work. There it says, where'd it go? Oh, I don't see it. All right, let's see here. Oh, being a BTT fan in California. I'm sorry, yeah. I Heart Movies. Hey, Ella in Ohio. Dewan Gabriel says House of Dynamite is good. Maybe then. Dancing Dog 60 says having Chinese takeout in Boston. That's pretty nice. Thank you, Elise. I hope my eye gets better too. But 5.5 hours was pretty good. Let's see here. I'm working on it. Oh, Lindsay, I'm glad I kept you company with your pasta dinner in Washington, D.C. I'm glad to be spending Friday night with you. Slade S says hi from Louisville. Oh, hello. And then Julian is watching Rocky Horror 50th anniversary tonight. Oh, that's fantastic. And Theater Kid. Bye-bye, Theater Kid. And Jay Timo says, London on the sofa with cookies and hot chocolate and BTT on the big screen. I'm honored to be such a part of such a cozy situation there. Let's see here. And then Leo is in Orlando, but catching you in Madrid. Wow. Oh, what a fun vacation. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner, Hyper. I have to think about it. I have not put any thought into it. I had a sandwich for lunch. Movies, TV reviews. I missed your question. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can find it. I'm looking. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. It's not still here. I apologize. Oh, thank you, Maria. Yes, if you could like and subscribe, that would always be appreciated. And then Andre says, hey, Grace, I'm watching while scratching my dog's belly after picking her up from the vet in Peru. Sounds like you and your dog are a great team. I love it. Oh, and Movies TV says, this is my question. Grace, who would you cast Maya Hawke as DCU Harley Quinn? No, I would not. But I like Maya Hawke, but I don't think she's Harley Quinn. All right, everybody. I had a lovely time talking to you as always, and I shall see you on Sunday for Movie Math. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.